that. Good evening, everybody. It is 7:30 or thereabouts, and I call this Planning Commission meeting to order, and I'm going to do it officially tonight because I never use my gavel. Dun, da, da. The first thing I would like to do tonight is recognize Daniel Smith sitting over here. Daniel, stand up for a moment, please. Daniel has stepped into John Dennis's shoes, which are big ones, but he's doing a great job, and he is technically, I think, the secretary of the Planning Commission as well. So welcome aboard, and thank you for all of your work so far, and all the work we'll get out of you in the future, sir. Thank you. The first thing is we need an approval of tonight's agenda, so I need a motion for that, please.
Motion to approve the agenda for the June 23rd, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
Need a second, please?
I will second that one.
Thank you. A vote, please. Aye. All in favor. Thank you. Unanimous. Next thing I need is or we need, I should say, is a motion regarding the approval of minutes from our last meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes from May 26, 2026 Planning Commission meeting.
Hard to remember that date. Second.
I'll second that one.
Thank you. A vote?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All in favor. Thank you very much. We have no old business, and we're going to get into new business pretty quickly here. I'm going to take a few minutes, and I'm going to read something that I need you all to pay very, very close attention to, all right? And I'm going to read it because I haven't memorized it. Not yet. Good evening, everyone, and thank you very, very much for your attendance and involvement at tonight's meeting. I want to thank you for any and all efforts made to inform us of different perspectives and points of view, all of which help us better consider and understand the issues at hand. These public meetings provide an opportunity for greater exposure and comment, whether for or against. Please be assured that the applications that come before the Planning Commission for review and consideration have already gone through a very rigorous and incredibly tedious process affected by our Planning and Development Department. In order to assure that everyone has an equal opportunity to be heard and to minimize distractions, I will now ask you to silence or turn off any and all electronic communication devices for the remainder of this meeting. If you are a doctor on call, you are exempt from that directive. Please note that this is an official public meeting at which important city business is conducted and that we are herewith engaged in a legal process. I'm now going to review the procedures that we will follow tonight. The Director of the Planning and Development Department, Jason Thompson, will begin by first presenting to all of us an overview of the project and the specific request being made by the applicant. He will then respond to questioning from the Commission. The applicant will then be afforded 15 minutes to make their presentation. Any allotted time not used will be reserved for rebuttal if necessary, and to respond to questions and concerns as voiced by you, the public. Upon completion of the applicant's presentation, we will open the floor for public comment. First to those wishing to state their support for the project, and then to those who claim opposition. A total of 15 minutes will be allotted for all public comments, both pro and con. Accordingly, please be very focused and specifically direct with your comments so that others are also able to speak. If there are common concerns, and it's a little late for this, please consider utilizing a spokesperson. By remaining in this room at this meeting, you, the public, hereby agree to the following guidelines. Let me start by saying the word of the day is decorum. No demonstrative behavior of any sort can or will be allowed or tolerated. This includes outcries, clapping, whistling, etc., so kindly refrain from doing so. When you come forward to the podium, please speak directly into the microphone. You will first provide your name and address for all to hear. You will then direct your comments to the chair and not to the applicant or any other person in attendance. You may only speak once regarding the application at hand, so please be as precise, thorough, to the point, and prompt as possible. Kindly present your comments in a fair and reasonable manner, and be sure to focus only on the topic or issue at hand. Be mindful that anger and poor attitudes serve no purpose and have no place in these chambers. Again, please be as brief and to the point as possible, keeping in mind the time limits we are working with, knowing that there may well be others who also wish to speak. If commission members ask questions of you, it will not be deducted from the total time that is available. Upon the closing of public comments, the applicant may, as previously mentioned, use the remaining time for rebuttal and response. The chair will then close public comments on the case at hand. A commission member will then offer a motion, and I will request a second to that motion. If the motion carries, discussion among the commissioners will ensue if appropriate and or necessary, after which time a vote on the matter will be called. Again, and here I speak for all commissioners reasonably, we sincerely appreciate your attendance and your participation. Let us proceed then to the business before us. I'm now going to ask Jason Thompson, our Director of Planning and Development, to introduce a case before us and to provide an overview. Jason?
Real quick, did the agenda get flipped to move B to A?
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah, just
Sorry.
get that motion in now. We'll go
Motion
ahead and take care of the church first.
motion that we swap SUP 26-01 to item line A under new business and make CIC 26-01 B on this agenda.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second that one.
Thank you. A vote?
There we
All
go.
right.
Thank you.
All right, this one
Thank
should
you for
be-
the reminder, Jason. I
Oh,
forgot
no
all about it.
worries, no worries. This one should be pretty simple, not complex. Basically, we have a request at 2925 from Main Street, on Main Street West at the West Side Baptist Church. We have the applicant is Mr. Shane Sweezy, principal of the Parkview Christian Church, and just give you a little background on this. What happened over there at the Parkview Christian Church, found themselves without a home rather unexpectedly, and were left to kind of work fast to find a place to have their school. They were able to locate and make an agreement with West Side Baptist Church. So as part of the zoning ordinance or the UDO, you have to apply for a special use permit for schools to make sure that ingress and egress is taken care of, parking and other relevant parameters of the development. So I'll just go over those. They have made application on the 4.54 acre site for a private K through 8 Christian school. And each SUP has a set of use standards. That's what I was referring to as parameters. So I'll go ahead and read those off for you at this place. That's how we govern these applications and any other information that's pertinent to the case. So the minimum lot size is required to be 5 acres. So in order to respond to that, the applicant has requested a variance to reduce the minimum lot size from 5 acres to the corresponding 4.54 acres, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
And we recommend approval for that, less than a 10% reduction. The property is large. Ingress and egress is great. You've got it on McGee and 78 with kind of you can see kind of how the traffic flows through there as well. So we recommend approval for that variance request. Then the second use standard is facilities must have at least 100 feet of frontage. They have that. A minimum 10-foot wide buffer is required. Look at all those trees. There's really nothing to buffer, especially against residential. There's no residential uses adjoining. And facilities and buildings to serve for school use only. Mixed use or multi-tenant building use is prohibited. And the intent of the code there is to not have schools necessarily proliferating shopping centers where parking could be an issue and stuff. So Technically, there are 2 uses in that building now, even though they're different buildings, they're adjoined. So just so the church or the school doesn't have any issues with their SUP in the future and any other time, we just go ahead and give them that variance for 2 tenants to be in one building, even though it's not necessarily the intent of the code. We want to make sure it was clear and nothing stopped them from continuing on with their school. So all of that to say we recommend approval of the private school and the 2 corresponding variances as discussed regarding 206-4.1J and 206-4.1H. And we do have one condition, and it's the event, basically this is our catch-all, if in the event that the subject property is not leased or purchased or occupied by the Parkview Christian School within 6 months from the date of mayor and council approval, or the property is occupied and later vacated, the special use permit becomes null and void, basically meaning that the SUP rides along with the school and not the church property. So if there's a new educator or a new company, a new organization wants to come in, they would need to come and, get right with the council as well. So that's all I have for this. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions, commissioners? All right, let's ask for the applicant to come visit with us and give us an overview, please. Please tell us your name, your address, and things like that.
Good evening. My name is Shane Swayze. I am the principal of Parkview Christian School. We are hoping to locate into the Westside Baptist Church facility, and I'm a citizen in Lilburn, Georgia. So before anything else, I would just like to take time to express my gratitude for you all here to hear our case and our request for special use permit. Also, thank you to Mr. Thompson, who I came to probably less than 2 months ago on an incredibly compressed timeline, and he looked at me and said, I don't know if you can do this, but I'll do everything I can to help you. And so they have been just excellent in guiding us through this process. When you go through educational leadership programs, they don't teach you anything about special use permits. But we have felt supported and heard and treated with professionalism throughout every step of this journey. Parkview Christian School, just so you have some reference, is not a new school. We have faithfully served children and families in Gwinnett County for the past 33 years. What began as a small ministry just to several families that were part of Parkview Presbyterian Church has grown into a thriving Christ-centered K-8 school. We are our own separate organization, and we are also fully accredited through the Georgia Accrediting Commission. Throughout these past 3 decades, our mission has always remained the same, and that's to support parents by providing an education that nurtures not just the mind, but also the heart of students. Our school has deep roots, obviously, in the Lilburn community, as we've been there for 33 years, but we're excited for this opportunity to begin a new chapter here in Snellville, along with our partnership with Westside Baptist Church. Grateful for Pastor John Weldon, who is here this evening, and their support to use kind of a largely unused separate building to house our school and to really do more to impact the community with what they've been given by God. And so we're grateful for them, along with the members of our school board, many of whom are here also this evening, and just represents the strong partnership and shared vision that we have as 2 separate organizations. We believe that the location is a great fit for our school and for our families. Our enrollment is intentionally small, projected to be around 82 students, which for larger churches is just a big youth group night. And so we are intentionally small. We have limited our kind of school hours to 8 to 3. We believe that will keep traffic impact minimal. We also have staggered dismissal for our lower grades. We actually have a half-day program, so a noon dismissal, meaning that half of the school will dismiss at noon and the remainder at 3. Again, just another way that we see very minimal impact in just the functioning of both Highway 78 and McGee Road, which will be our main entrance. We are committed to being responsible stewards of this property, being respectful to the neighbors and the surrounding community. We actually think the location fits in great with what's going on there. Next door is a daycare and preschool, and right behind is the public park. And so what better way to have really from daycare to preschool to K through 8, and then play in the park when you're done with the school hours. It just seems like a great use of that area. As our Christian school, we teach our students that one of the greatest commandments is to love our neighbors as ourselves. And so that's not simply something we teach in the classroom, but it's something we want to see them commit to in their lives outside of the school building and in our lives as an organization. So if approved, we look forward to serving families in Snellville, investing in children, supporting the local community through our family and classroom service project days, and becoming a positive and hopefully long-lasting part of this city, a city that actually has quite a lack of K through 12 Christian education options. So on behalf of our students, families, staff, school board, and partners at Westside Baptist, we thank you this evening for your time, for all of the consideration and the case approval that has already been given by Planning and Development, and for the service of each one of you here to the city of Snellville. Be honored at this time. If there's any questions that you have, I'll do my best to answer them.
How did you get detached from the original church that you were connected to?
Yeah, great question. So 33 years as a a ministry, it is a hard thing to kind of wade through. But as oftentimes happens when there's new leadership, they have new visions for how the building is used and how they use that space to impact the community. And I personally have a huge heart for children and education, right. But I do understand that that's not everyone's heart, and that's a completely okay thing. But when that's not your heart, and you have 80 or 90 students in your building every day, it's you have to love kids. And so we found ourselves realizing that there was a new reality for the space that we had called home, and thankfully had connections with Pastor John Weldon at Westside Baptist, who not only loves kids, I think he spent 20 years as a youth pastor around, but also the church formerly housed Gwinnett Christian Academy, I believe from 2004 to 2009, and he recorded a message for our teachers saying that he's missed the lack of noise in the building, and our teachers were like, wait, somebody who wants noise in the building? This is great to hear. So we're very grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Questions, commissioners? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Daniel, how much time does he have left?
We got the time over here. He's got 9 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I will now open the floor to public comment. I want you to keep in mind my original remarks about everything. So first, I'm going to ask for anybody wishing to speak in support of this. Please come forward.
Gay Bruce, 1710 Woodbury Wayne Drive. Mr. Chair and Planning Commissioners, I have not had any personal affiliation with this school, but I know several families who have had children at the school at the previous location. It was a great asset for the Lilburn community. It would be a great asset to the Snellville community, and I urge you to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak in favor?
Good evening.
Hold on.
Oh.
Folks, stop with the phones already. I requested that originally. I really need to have quiet. Thank you. Please identify yourself, sir, and thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Robert Contino. I live at 3405 Townley Place in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I come here as a parent of 4 kids that have gone through Parkview Christian School over the years. And so we've been there for a total of 8 years now. I joined the board at Parkview Christian School just back in October, and so I've been a part of a lot of the conversations that have happened. And just wanted to highlight a little bit of, I think, the benefit that this school brings to the local community. I mean, not only have we as a family loved the small class sizes and the individual attention and the loving environment that the school provides for our kids, but the school is not just inward focused, but very outward focused. Several times throughout the year, built into the academic calendar is community service. And so families do that together in the fall, and then classes do that together in the spring. And it's just been great to be a part of that and to kind of see that in action. We've done things with the local Lilburn Fire Department, police department, local pregnancy centers, food banks, and getting out there to serve needy families. And that's great for everybody, and it's especially great for our kids as we're developing them with this service mindset. So thank you for your time, and I urge you to approve. Thank you.
Thank you. We know your name, but tell us anyway.
I think this is a win-win situation. I wish more churches would do this, be a dual action. My concern was with where the children would play, but he has already stated they would probably walk over to the park. That would be a concern, but this looks like a win-win situation for this location. I have neighbors in my neighborhood that have spoke for it, and they're all for it because they go to church there. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come forward in support of this measure?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ahmad Gabrieli, and I live off of Lenore Church Road. I have no affiliations with the school, but I am a teacher. I teach over in the DeKalb area, and I tutor a lot of students in Gwinnett. And one of the things I hear a lot of parents talk about is the need for good, solid, community-based education. And it sounds like this school is exactly what the Snellville area needs. I'm all for it. I'm all for the Christian center of it. I'm all for the connection with the daycare center as well as the park. And I'm just all for Christ-centered leadership and education in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else would like to speak in favor? How are we doing on time?
Sorry about my phone, it's new.
Your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Janice Joseph, 2071 Buckley Trail.
Thank you.
So I'm all for the new school simply because it would feed into my business. I have a kid transportation service, and we transport kids to and from school. So that's a new area. I hadn't heard about it, but we also have the Malore School, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is off of Oak Drive. So I'm definitely all for the new school, the new area, and building Snellville with education.
Thank you. Any other comments in support? I will, okay.
Hi, my name's Tracy Loser of 2248 Eastwood Drive, Snellville. Just as a parent of one child is about to be a senior, but the other one, they're both in high school, but anyways, they've grown up here in Snellville all their life, and I would have been looking for a private education school for them in our city, because currently they've been going out to Loganville, and we've had to look at other cities further away for their education. So I would definitely support this for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments in support? Well, I knew we'd get you eventually.
I'm like, I don't think I need to. My name is John Weldon. I'm sorry, I am the pastor at Westside Baptist Church, and let's see, my address is 2184 Mitford Court in Decula, Georgia. So, but I've been a part of Westside since 1982. My parents moved there when I was 7, began attending the church there, went off, got married, college, but I know Westside Baptist Church. I've been there on staff since 2005 as a youth pastor for a number of years. I am, as Principal Shane said, I am excited about this. I'm really looking forward to our building being used. That has been our prayer as I became the pastor in 2020. And so this is just another way that God is opening the doors for the building to be used. And I believe it's an amazing use of the building. And just, again, I don't think I need to say anything, but just look forward to the opportunity to partner with Pinnacle Christian School or Parkview Christian School in the next coming months.
Thank you, sir. All right, last chance for somebody in support. All right, I'm going to turn it over to opposition. Is anybody in the audience in opposition to this measure? Again, it looks like a big fat resounding no. All right, I will close public comments, therefore. Do commissioners have any questions regarding the public comments?
I have a question for Jason, tongue in cheek. If Parkview Christian School changed their name to Brookwood Christian School, would the condition need to be changed? Since they're moving, it's a joke.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
No.
The condition does say Parkview Christian School with the,
We can do Parkview /
we can slash Brookwood,
Yeah,
Bronco, or
whatever
something.
you
All right,
want.
cool. All right.
Well, that was pretty easy. All right, I will now entertain a motion for the special use.
Motion to approve SUP 26-01 with the recommendations and conditions of staff.
Second, please.
I will second that.
Thank you. Any discussion? You good? Let's vote then. All in favor? Unanimous.
Welcome to Snellville.
Yeah, welcome.
Parkview School.
All right, we will turn the meeting back over to Jason Thompson. He will now lead us through our second case for review tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just read this into the record under new business, so it gets in there. So just bear with us while I read through this technical stuff. It's CIC 26-01, which is a change in conditions. Consideration and recommendation on application by SPG planners and engineers, the applicant, and Shifa Real Estate Investment LLC, the property owner, requesting a change in conditions from the 7/22/2024 approved rezoning and special use permit RZ03 SUP and SUP 24-01 with every multifamily project requires a special use permit in the town center. For 171 multifamily town center flat development to increase the number of units for a total of 239 units on a 2.677 plus or minus acre site, zone TCR, Town Center Residential District, for proposed 5-story town center flat residential buildings with 239 mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units located in the Town Center Overlay District at 2380 Wisteria Drive, Snellville, Georgia, tax parcel 5038133. So I'm just going to keep I'm going to keep mine short and let the applicant present his case. But basically, what we're looking at is a change in conditions, as I stated, but to the original zoning, which was approved previously for the let me get my papers out, 171 units. And I tried to have them both just kind of explain the differences. Visually is a little easier. So there's been some very small changes to this building, but not much. But the main addition is the addition of the pylon or pillar parking, where there's basically stilts, concrete, and then there's surface parking becomes parking for the 4-story, which is actually the 4-story building occupies those additional units on the back side of the property. So that's the main change. The additional units are going here, where it was just surface parking. Now it's going to be pillared parking beneath, and then the structure above. It all presents as a building. You don't see the actual pillars of the parking. It's not like a elevated stilt, and the elevations show that. The elevations have mainly remained unchanged from the original application, so won't necessarily be going into those. So I'm just going to speak to what's happened or what the change was originally approved. It is still compliant within the UDO, the comp plan, the future land use map, the character areas for the town center overlay, the use still very much supported. And as part of the adoption of that comprehensive plan, the town center was focused on, and it was decided at that time through policy that the density in the future in the city would be inside the town center. It is inside the town center. I like to speak to the parking a little bit too. There was originally parked at 248. It is at 249. Now that's an addition of 68 units and 1 extra parking space. Can you hear me? As a planner, our job is to look at the code. It still meets minimum code requirements at 1 unit per acre, even though it did go down from 1.45 parking spaces, per unit, and now it's at 1.005, I believe, with 10 more spaces than actual units. Still meets the minimum code requirements. There is the addition of the detention pond got pushed across the Greenway Trail, just so everybody knows and oriented. This thing rolls all the way around behind North Side, goes up, and then connects to the Grove over by the brewery. There's actually going to be a connection directly to the trail now from the edge of the building that people will be able to access and actually traverse all the way down to Lenore Church Park if they so desire. Again, this would be 5 stories, including the parking on all the buildings, and then 239 units, which is an increase of 68 units and an increase of 1 parking space. With that in mind, we've already kind of gone over the comp plan. It's all the same. We're really just focusing on the additional. It meets minimum code requirements, and we recommend approval with the following conditions. All variances and conditions approved 7/22/2024 by the Snellville Mayor and Council for case 24-03 and SUP 24-01 will remain in full force and effect, except for number 1. The property shall be developed in general accordance with the conceptual rezoning site plan entitled Vespera 2380 Wisteria Drive, Snellville, Georgia, 30078, Gwinnett County, dated 5/12/2026, stamped received 5/12/2026, detached as Exhibit A, and proposed exterior elevation sheet A100 revised to 4/21/2026, received 5/12/2026, and attached as Exhibit C with the modifications permitted to meet conditions of zoning or state, county, and city regulations. Substantial variation from the conceptual site plan approved by Mayor and Council, as determined by the Director of Planning and Development, will require additional Mayor and Council approval after submitting a change in conditions application or receiving recommendation. That's basically just saying if they want to change it from what's approved, no matter, they would have to ask Mayor and Council if it was substantial. That's a lot of words to basically say that. I'd be happy to answer any questions the Planning Commission may have, but we'll allow the applicant to present their case after this.
Any questions?
Good.
Anybody? Thank you.
All right.
Kindly identify yourself, sir, and be advised you have 15 minutes.
All right. Good evening, Chair, Planning Commission. Mick Kittle with SBG Planners and Engineers, 1725 Electric Avenue in Watkinsville, Georgia. So, digital presentation, is that possible or should
Just let them
All right.
know when you need a slide change. We'll take care of it.
Excellent. All right, so Jason, I appreciate the explanation on what we're asking. It's, as Jason stated, a changing conditions. The timeline of this project in '24, it was approved to be brought into the district overlay for the town center and the special use of Town Center Flats, which is essentially the multifamily component. Since that time, the property owner has put this on the market, has reached out to multiple potential builders to see this project become successful and, raise and get rid of the existing Ryan Steakhouse that I believe has been there vacant for 20 years. And it is, essentially the gateway to the city, the gateway to the overlay district for the town center. So over those past 2 years, most of the feedback that he's heard is 200 units or more will be what makes this project feasible. And if you look, could I do a slide change there we go. So the shape of the parcel is extremely awkward. It's got this obscure leg to the back that crosses over the greenway and then starts to slope down to the adjacent properties. And what we've done with this is essentially made it the most efficient that we can to provide, the vision of the town center overlay by bringing in density, by maximizing the site, by, providing new housing opportunities for different price points for the community. I wish we had more land to work with here, but it is a very awkward shaped site. So we've worked with the architect and the client and our engineering department to try to make all of this work, to provide access from Wisteria and from Hugh Drive while addressing all of the components of a site that you tend to not think about as much with trash service. I believe there was a comment earlier overheard about the trash compactor moving, and that is because a facility like a standard trash enclosure just doesn't work for something of this size. So we actually wanted to resort to a hidden compactor, which would be off Hugh. It would be garage fed, so trucks have access to it. It's not visible from the street. It's actually enclosed, when it's not being picked up. So from that timeline to where we are now, we've really worked hard to try to make the unit count work to make this a viable project. And where we had before was, essentially a parking lot. There is opportunity to put additional units there. This is only about a 70-foot wide space. So there's really not, in my opinion, a better use for a segment like this. You're not, getting houses there. You're not necessarily getting anything beyond. It's a corridor with units on either side. So it's a pretty narrow building, but it works well for the multifamily component. As far as parking, we were not able to gain more than one space. And again, that's due to the shape of the site. But I think because there's other opportunities, especially in a downtown center like this, what it really does is encourages, alternative transportation. There's the Greenway, which we're extending onto Wisteria. You can see that we're proposing a 10-foot improvement to make that connection over to the cemetery. There's the Greenway. There's ride share opportunities, biking, walking. There's the Gwinnett County service that I believe provides shuttle service within Snellville as well. And our vision is that a lot of these people would live and work here and have the ability to not use a vehicle. Majority of the units are 2 bedrooms, so we see young couples moving in, maybe trying to find a permanent residence in the city, and only having one vehicle that they use when they're traveling outside of town. So beyond those components, we're not asking for any variances. Everything falls within code. Setbacks and lot coverage are all met. The stormwater, prior to when we had the parking lot, was an underground facility, and now with the building you can't do underground, so we're using the additional parcel property to the east to incorporate a bioretention pond. And that's different than a standard detention pond. Bioretention utilizes different media and landscape components to make it an aesthetic and lively view. If you're going down the Greenway now, you're going to see a lot of native plants and trees and ornamental grasses that fill the pond. It's not just going to be a hole in the ground with water. It's actually, a much better system than your standard detention pond. This will also have enhanced landscape treatment throughout the rest of the site. We're, going to continue the streetscape enhancements along Wisteria. We're going to buffer all sides of the property along the foundation of the building, and just really bring all the enhancements from the north, the Grove area, into this corner, and bring just a much better vision when you're pulling into the city on Wisteria as that gateway. Per the traffic study, there was a recommendation with the the increase in units to add a right decel lane into the surface parking there in the kind of the upper middle section off of Wisteria. So there would be an appropriate decel lane to take traffic off of Wisteria into our property there. And that's all in the updated revised traffic study. As far as the architectural features, if you don't mind scrolling just a bit. So this is general elevation. If you were to compare it to the previous approved exhibit, nothing's changed beyond, just the addition of the unit. It has the same character as before, with a combination of glass, brick, siding, metal, and cast stone. So we feel like the enhanced elements really do fall in and exceed the requirements of the code here. So one more. This is just artist, rendering of what this might look like from Wisteria Drive, and generally these are pretty accurate to, the depiction. I know sometimes the streetscape's a little different, but overall this is the style of the architecture. And if maybe just kind of scroll a few, so this would be the amenity that's over the podium parking, and one more, just gives that opportunity for green space and the residents, living space to, go out. And this bird's eye gives a better view of how this fits into the surrounding character. You do have, quite a bit of commercial business, some larger buildings, and we feel like it really fills that opportunity for an awkward parcel to, be utilized into the district and along the frontage here in Wisteria. I did recently submit also a letter of support from the owner of the large shopping center to the east, or to the plan east there, with all the parking. They see this as a wonderful opportunity to support their commercial business, and would love to have the residents in proximity, just to be able to walk to their shops and incorporate just more of a foot traffic scenario versus always having to park there. So this is just a quick example or exhibit that shows proximity to all the adjacent houses, and as you can see, we're 275 to 400 feet from the closest homes in the rear. And then the next slide shows what the view corridor looks like, and this is all based on existing topography, showing our height to estimated FFE based on topo, and the existing forest area that would also continue to screen those views to the tops of the expanded building there. So just technical plan if we want to get into any details, but otherwise I believe that's a fair ask on what we're trying to do here to fulfill the overlay district and just make a better opportunity rather than a vacant building that's going to continue to sit for who knows how long, because it's, as stated before, it's hard to make development work, especially when parking gets tight and you have to bring in podium parking and just the cost of it overall to make it work. You really have to pencil out some of the numbers, and that's what we're here for. So I appreciate your time. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? So my concern just would be a perceptive one. I'm not sure I would want to live in the building, the new building, I'm going to call it, if I may, and look at the back of the commercial building.
Sure.
That would be like, builder developer, that would like, what? Who wants to live in that? Of course,
Right.
now, to be fair, I've seen people buy houses in shocking places.
Yeah, and maybe there's an opportunity that, those are less expensive as the ones in the front just because of the position of where they are, and I see that as an opportunity to have different price points. But I agree that the commercial building across is probably not the best view. But again, just to make this work overall as a development, we have to find units somewhere, and unfortunately we have a 70-foot sliver that's the only thing left, and we really don't want to sacrifice amenity space. You can see that we're proposing the green space for the community that in theory could be 4 stories of units, but then you depleted that opportunity for potentially a pool or just a hangout spot, people to read and grill or whatever it might be. And so it's really trying to find that balance of what's marketable, what works, and constructability of a development of this size.
I would also be concerned about, back to parking, because I don't see how you're going to restrict tenants to one vehicle, which means that, because you'd have to have it in your lease.
No, I agree.
Or
Yeah.
what's going to happen is they're going to end up parking in front of the commercial building, or they're going to park across you near the post office, and because there's a boatload of, there's not like there's not enough parking around.
Right.
But it's not necessarily
site.
adjacent.
Mhm.
So what are your thoughts on how you're going to consider that or manage that aspect, which you're going to have more cars to park than you have parking spaces? Let me put it that way.
Right, and I know that comes across a lot as, cities are starting to reduce parking requirements and you run into it more. I see that as, really the developer, it's his choice what he wants to offer as far as rentability and parking. And, we've given pretty much all that we can on this site. And I wish I could find more parking, but, having the podium maxed out, we have surface parking that we've basically taken a chunk out of the building for, to allow for additional spaces there. It's still, it meets code, I get that, and that's one component, but, livability is probably going to have some people that don't want to rent there because they can't park. And, that's, to me, the choice that the developer ends up making. He knows the market better than I do as far as who's going to rent and not have a parking space. So, I get the concern. And we're going to keep trying to find more spaces. Again, this is conceptual, and I know we're sticking to the overall design, but if we can incorporate compact spaces to at least get, 10 more, I think there's opportunity there to continue to search to try to make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sticking with the parking, is there any consideration for making the new 5-story building 3 floors of parking and 2 floors of living, which then lowers your amount of units back down to the 200 that you said was necessary to make it feasible, at the same time increasing your parking, so that I think all of our biggest concern, one, beside aesthetically, it's
Right.
probably terrible. It's better, like when we approved this in 2024, it's better than the Ryans. But now it's maybe not better than the Ryans with the new proposal. It's getting worse. So, if you increased your parking, decreased your units, if 200 is the threshold, that gets you to the 200, and we fixed a parking problem and a unit threshold to make it feasible and, marketable or buildable.
Yeah, I think going 2 stories on parking, then you get, crazy costs, but I see your point on, trying to find that balance. And maybe that is taking, a story off, or 2, whatever it might be, because we're only getting 12 units per story on that back building. So
Was there any consideration for purchasing the ortho PT, and I don't remember what's on the other end of it, building, and making this a live work like we've been promoting in Snellville, like we did it down 78
there may
towards
have been
Loganville?
conversations with the landowner between one another, but I'm not aware of anything that's progressed from that. But definitely happy to, have that conversation with the landowner on, and, if there's a way to kind of rebalance what we're
I think
looking
that
at.
probably fixes all of your problems. If that building goes away, it gets incorporated into the ground floor of your new apartment building, and then you have that more ample parking space.
If which
I
building
think that
goes away?
the orthopedic building that we're going to be looking down on from the 5th floor.
Right.
If we live there. I don't know what this building is called, but this.
Yeah, and
getting
I
there.
believe that building is still
Yeah, so
fully
that's,
occupied.
it's like Atlanta PT, an orthopedic surgeon, and I don't remember what's on the other
It's
end.
a laundromat.
Laundromat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that may be different ownership. I'm not
Yeah, I'm
quite
just
sure.
trying to spitball this
Right.
to make it better, because I think we're creating problems building this strip as it's proposed.
Understood.
And I was back there today driving behind the orthopedic doctor's building, trying to anyway, because the space between the back of the building and the curb was not sufficient enough for me to get my truck around. And there was cars parked up on the curb behind the doctor's building. So from what I'm seeing here is there's not really a buffer between the end of their parking lot and the beginning of the building.
Elevation change. It's I would say probably 3 to 5 feet.
That's not much. That's like a little retaining wall or something difference back between there. Is there anything between the curb and the
Right, but
actual
there's
start of the
not
building?
any connectivity, is what I'm saying. There wouldn't be any connectivity or, buffering of, I guess, somebody trying to drive through. And there's also, there's actually not a side setback in the town center, but we are still proposing, I believe, 3 to 5 feet, to have a landscape around the proposed building and the parking there.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Kevin, what's on your mind?
I too am struggling with the whole parking, adding to what Michael was saying. The current building at 5 stories, to get that, wherever they count as a scale meet, it could be 200, 205 units, whatever. Could you elevate that to 6-story multifamily to get up to there, keep the parking? My concern would be visitors, right? The math that I'm looking at a 1.06 spaces per unit, that means 14 extra vehicles for 269 units, I think it was.
Right.
The impact possibly on, public safety, people trying to find parking spaces. I could see the police department being involved. I'm just throwing spitballing, but it's somewhere there has to be a happy medium than what we're being fed today on this. That's where
I get what you're saying, and knowing that, 200 is the threshold that we're trying to accomplish. I believe with the parking that we currently have on site, that would put it closer to a 1.25 ratio instead of 1.05 before we were 1.48. So we're getting more opportunity by doing so, and that's a conversation that I'm happy to take back and discuss and continue to meet with Jason on.
And I realize there's cost constraints, right? Everything has a cost constraint, but you're shoehorning on a 70-foot wide lot, and I'm struggling here.
Yeah, and if we could buy the adjacent parcel, I think they would love to do that, but I just haven't had any updates on that or his attempts to do so.
We all set? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I will now open this to public comments, and I will again appreciate the quieting of electronic devices, please, and thank you. Anyone in support of this, please come forward and tell us what you think. Okay, well, kind of expected that. Anybody in opposition? Please come forward. Let me remind you, please, that there is a 15-minute total time for everyone who wants to speak against, since nobody has spoken for, but there's a 15-minute time limit. So I'm going to, again, remind you and encourage you to be very straightforward and very punctual about your comments. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Tom Flynn, 2358 Eastwood Drive, Snellville. I agree with all of your comments about parking, so I won't repeat those. I do have a, let's call it a technical comment. This retaining, I guess I'm not, can you turn on the camera over here? Yes. So this retaining pond here, okay, currently with the way that the site is, the parking lot is split. The drainage from here and this wooded lot all go to the retention pond behind Wisteria Place. If you put the retention pond out here and you don't pipe it to that retention pond behind Wisteria Place, you're going to put a ditch in the backyard of this house on Eastwood Drive. Not only will it, right now, the only thing that drains back that way is this little area right here. You're going to add however much there is that you add to it. So I would like a condition that the outlet of the proposed bioretention pond adjacent to property parcel zone be piped directly into the retention pond located behind Wisteria Place. I have another, and hopefully they will take it into consideration on drainage. There is an underground retention pond here. There is a trash compactor right there. Trash compactors, someone puts cleaning fluids, olive oil, who knows what, they get crushed. So they need to isolate the retention pond, this underground retention, from the trash compactor, because right now that lot drains into a catch basin here, which goes under the street in a pipe and then down to a retention pond behind Domino's.
How do you know all that?
I looked at it.
Just curious. I'm impressed with the knowledge.
Engineer.
I drive through that all the time. I've never paid attention to where the water goes.
Okay, well, you go on the county GIS. Okay, construction, during construction, we're putting a 5-story building next to the open play area of a daycare. And it's, I heard 5 feet, it might look like 10 feet on the drawing. So we need to have some conditions on construction. This is going to fill the entire lot. Where are they going to store where are they going to put their crane? Where are they going to put their equipment? Where are they going to put their supplies, their workers' parking? All of that, the city needs to determine ahead and have and during the construction of the Wisteria North Road intersection, the city website said we're going to keep traffic lanes open. You know what? And the city has lots of stuff on greenways. They didn't leave any way for the pedestrians open. So I'm going to ask that we put in conditions that to keep the greenway open both in the back and along Hugh Drive. Let's see. Yeah, come on. I have had some questions on the property lines. They're really screwy. I hate to say it. The property line is drawn. It's in Wisteria. So that's something that will have to be sorted out. This drawing calls the down here as a proposed greenway. It's already a greenway. And the property line goes down the middle of what's now on their drawing, goes down the middle of the current greenway. So. I will say one thing, if you do this, don't take the trees out on Wisteria. There's not going to be enough dirt there to hold them up. We had it on North Lawn. And plus, if you try to come out of Hugh Drive with the building right on the corner. It will be, the trees will just make it even worse. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good job. Yes.
Your name and address, please, ma'am.
Gay Bruce, 1710 Woodbury Run Drive. Good evening, Chair and members of Planning Commission. I'm here tonight as I have extensively reviewed the change in condition requests for the property at 2380 Wisteria Drive, and I have not found any mention in the Planning Department's analysis of the applicant's proposal to decrease the parking ratio from 1.45 spaces per unit as approved for this development in 2024 to 1.06 spaces per unit as mentioned in the applicant's letter of intent dated May 7th, 2026. This is a significant oversight and one that I believe needs to be addressed. When doing additional research regarding the number of proposed parking spaces, I have concluded that what the applicant is proposing is extremely inadequate in terms of parking. This alone is a reason enough that the change in conditions request should be denied. Please allow me to explain. The applicant is requesting that the number of apartments be increased by 68 units, making a total of 239 units, but wants to decrease the parking space ratio from 1.45 spaces, which was approved in 2024, to 1.06 spaces per unit. In reviewing the Universal Development Ordinance for both Gwinnett County and the City of Snellville, I have learned that Gwinnett County stipulates a minimum of 1.5 spaces per multifamily unit, while it appears that Snellville City does not have this UDO requirement for multifamily residential. Based on Gwinnett County ratio of 1.45 parking spaces per family unit, that would equate to 359 spaces, which is 239 units times 1.5 parking spaces per unit equals 359 spaces. And that's from the Gwinnett County UDO, which I have highlighted here for multifamily. Since it appears the City of Snellville does not have a specific parking space ratio requirement for multifamily parking in the Snellville UDO, calculating the number of parking spaces based on what the Snellville City Council approved in 2024 with a ratio of 1.45 spaces per unit, the very minimum number of parking spaces should be 347, which is 239 units times 1.45 parking spaces per unit, which would be 347 spaces. Now, the city doesn't show a multi-family designation, but they do have what they call a collective residence, and that is also, according to UDO, which I highlighted, at two units, at 2 spaces per unit. The Snellville City Council approved the development in 2024 with 171 apartments and a parking ratio of 1.45 spaces for a total of 248 parking spaces. The applicant, however, is requesting a decrease in the parking ratio from what the Snellville City Council approved in 2024 at 1.45 spaces per unit to the ratio of 1.06. This totals 253 spaces, which is an increase of 5 parking spaces from what was approved in 2024, but requesting an increase of 68 units. Based on these calculations, the applicant is deficient, and based on what Gwinnett County requires at 1.5 spaces per unit, they're deficient 102 spaces. In addition to the comments that the applicant made, I want to make a comment regarding the Snellville ride share and the Gwinnett County transportation. I have used those. Please remember, they're not 24/7. They're not available 24/7. They don't run on holidays, and they don't run on weekends. I don't believe they run on Sundays. They may or may not on Saturdays. I don't remember for sure, but it's not 24/7, and it's not fair to me for applicants to come in and say, oh, you've got transportation when the transportation is not available 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Jason, can we get a time check?
We've got 6 minutes left. Thank you.
I will be fast. Tracy Loser again, 2248 Eastwood Drive, Snellville. We reside directly behind where that green retention pond they want to add will be, behind that building in the bottom picture, behind the building that's to the right there. We personally do not want another retention pond behind our home. We agree with the council about the view will be behind the businesses and also overlooking the daycare. How are you going to keep registered sex offenders from occupying these units and overlooking a daycare right there? We're concerned about the noise that will increase right behind our property. Will there be fencing? We also agree that the look of it all just doesn't make sense. Squeezing this in this little property area, it just doesn't make sense aesthetically. We would want a fence to protect our property from this area along the Greenway. Currently behind that empty building where Jag Fitness used to be, there is a dilapidated fence. And also behind this, we get a lot of traffic behind there, people who drive behind there and they'll do drugs or whatever, they're make a deal or something. We smell it, we hear them. We don't want any more traffic back there. And what's the current occupancy at the Grove? And like, are these buildings going to be 60% full as well? That's really all I had to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll be really quick. My name's Winnie Ogu, 3173 Newton's Crest Circle, Snellville, Georgia, 30078. So this design involves a 40% increase in density based on what he has provided to us. But there are a few things I did not hear. With the construction that's going to potentially go on, this question is basically for the planning commissioners. How do they intend to protect the animals that actually live close to the area so that we don't have more dead animals on the side of the road? Because every time there's any construction in most areas, we see lots of deers on the side of the road. And I'm sure everybody has a heart to feel that this is not right. So that's the big one. Everybody else has spoken about parking and traffic and noise. So thank you.
Thank you. Tell us your name and address this time, Trish.
Just for the heck of it, Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. This is terrible. It is a squeeze. The citizens of Snellville are tired of it. I spoke for the Wisteria building. That's where our growth needs to go. But this guy's telling you that he's possibly going to sell it. He's trying to get more quantity opposed to our quality. It doesn't make sense. Build character for this city. It's on your hands. He's going to squeeze whatever he can in here. Please, listen to the citizens of Snellville. They're tired of it. This is a squeeze. Thank you.
No. No public, no displays of anything, please.
2 minutes left.
Okay, I'll be quick. Marlene Tillman, 1977 Tanglewood Drive. I just want to ditto everything everyone has said. And I want to also add to the fact that it is not the citizens of Snellville's problem to make their project work. They can either work within our constraints, they've had a variance already, to keep giving variances to make their project work for it to be viable for them. This needs to be a hand-in-glove situation, and it's not currently. And yes, there really isn't public transit. I have a lot of concern about parking, especially since we just did a public parking ordinance over at the Grove. Where are these cars going to go? And it sounds like the commercial property wouldn't want them there either. So that's all I have to add.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, Lorianne Johnson, 1878 Englewood Way, Snellville, Georgia. Okay, I have a question. Can I ask questions?
Ask a question and we'll either staff or the applicant will answer it.
Okay, on the front end of Wisteria where the trees are you allowing for on-street parking or not?
We'll answer when he gets up there.
Okay. The other thing is, this is all rental, no condo? Okay. And the other question is, isn't there a 30-year plan that 9 times out of 10, the laundromat and all that's going to disappear when y'all connect to Walmart? Isn't there a 30-year building plan for Snellville with intentions of that street connecting to the back end where former Walmart was and developing all of that to make it a continuous flow?
I'll speak to that.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep, I'm good.
One street and 30-year plan. All right, that's it.
All right. Public comments are now officially closed, and thank you, everybody, for stepping up. Okay.
Marilyn Regis, 2611 Stokesley Way. This is my first meeting, so hello to everyone. I'm a new resident of Snellville, and I moved from Philadelphia. I'm originally from Brooklyn. I didn't come to Snellville to come back to the city. So I just wanted to say that the high rises and everything, that was not our purpose of coming here. And we love the city and we love the town and we want to see it grow, but this seems like it's going to turn Snellville into a metropolis. And I don't think the residents would like that very much. Okay, thank you.
All right, now we're done. All right, I'm going to invite the applicant back up to address everything that's been thrown at you, sir.
Made a list. All right, I'll go through, and answer what I can. And
Can we have everybody's attention, please? Thank you. Remember, the word of the day was decorum. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
So I'll go through and answer what I can tonight, and
Right.
definitely take on any questions to the landowner and have that discussion for those that I can't. Regarding the bioretention pond and where the outfall would be, again, these are conceptual placement drawings. Some of the preliminary engineering has been done, and we are aware of the connection. Essentially, what we're trying to do is capture everything from the roof drains to go into our pond to be treated and then continue into the city system. So we're not just going to have water filling up the pond, dumping out. We engineer these drawings once we get further into the design to meet all city codes and standards in Gwinnett County as well. Regarding trash compactor location, all trash compactors and enclosures are required to have the sewer connection. And a lot of times too, you'll have a grease trap and separators for any kind of oils, contaminants, so those actually get filtered and not dumped into your detention pond and ultimately into your streams. So again, that's a great point, and we do meet all requirements of the engineering and the code, and ensure that we're not just polluting and dumping things everywhere. So. As far as construction, crane placement, there's opportunities in the amenity space. There's big gaps in the building there that would provide, in my opinion, ample room for a crane. You're not going to trap yourself in. You're going to build it, over time. And I'm not a contractor, but I feel like, there's much tighter places that have been constructed. They phase that and they create opportunities within the site to construct. And so, that's something that will ultimately come at construction and the phasing, but I think generally there's usually a way to do that. Trees on the street, again, if they fit, the soils are correct. We love street trees. I feel like they make a great opportunity for, the frontage, and it's better than nothing and having, shrubs or ornamental grasses. But as far as visibility, site triangles always matter, and we're going to take this serious and ensure that there's not blocked visibility. We do want to ensure health of trees and just make sure that we're not disrupting utilities or causing any obstructions to the public right of way. So back to parking, I know that's a big deal. We currently meet code. I know it seems less than it needs to be, and I can see that potentially people would get frustrated with that, especially if you move in. It would deter you from moving in But, you know, right now we're still meeting code, and we're going to continue to look for more spaces and see what maybe, you know, there are other opportunities to get maybe some compact units in, or, you know, switch around how this is aligned. I'm happy to have a discussion with the landowner, you know, to figure out what other opportunities he'd be willing to explore. Just for right now, I don't know that answer, but I agree. I'd love to find more parking too. So the transportation, you know, I apologize. I don't know the Gwinnett public system, and I wish, I mean, it should run on the weekend. That would be awesome for everybody. And, you know, it's unfortunate that it doesn't, but it's a good, you know, I guess, progress for having that option. So occupancy at the Grove, you know, I can't speak to that. I don't have the market study and know what that number is, but I know just in general, housing options are in high demand because the cost of a single family home is way up. You know, most first-time buyers are not able to buy a house because there's just not the inventory, there's not the cost associated. And so for cities to provide an opportunity for 1, 2, and 3 bedroom houses or apartments, it does allow people to move where they want to, and not feel like they have to just continue moving further out of the city core to be able to afford a home. So animal protection, you know, there's, I'm sure, some native species in the area, and any disturbance that we have on our plans, we always show tree protection or any kind of erosion control to protect the environment, the animals, you know, as best as possible and to meet all Georgia state requirements. The landowner, you know, he is a landowner, he's not a builder. So as his role in this, he wants to create an opportunity for someone to build it. He's not just trying to flip it or anything like that. His business is in, you know, land and working with builders. If he built it himself, then I'd be afraid of how that turned out. So, okay. Street parking, you know, if there's room for street parking, I mean, we're more than happy to accommodate that. I think it's always a nice component of any downtown, any streetscape to have street parking opportunities. It gives you frontage, it gives you, you know, access and opportunity to a multitude of buildings, retail, commercial, you know, but it wouldn't be defined as permanent resident parking because it would be within the right of way. So it would be public parking. But again, happy to explore that opportunity. And then, you know, just to note that a lot of times in that previous session, I heard reference to Gwinnett County. You know, I'm sticking with Snellville code and requirements beyond utilities. I know that's through Gwinnett, but I just want to make that clear that we are following Snellville code and trying to match, you know, meet that or exceed that. So appreciate it. I'm guessing that's the last of it there. So thank you all very much.
Just wanted to speak to the question that Ms. Lorianne asked about the right-of-way enhancement. It's not necessarily associated with this project, but if you can see here, Hugh Drive, this is currently a city right-of-way, kind of comes back and kind of almost stops here. There's a plan in order to facilitate the redevelopment of the old Walmart in Snellville Oaks to extend that road and connect it to, is that Eastgate? Eastgate, I believe. Eastgate, and then it would, of course, feed in, and then there would be a trail system and all that associated. Nothing has been funded. It has been studied. It has been designed, you know, a few years ago, but basically waiting for that project to come around before the city spends any money on that. So I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Any questions, anybody? Yeah.
You know, the job of the planning commissioners is to hear. It's okay if the project's not good enough. If you want to see changes, you can send it up with an approval saying you want these changes, or you can send it up with a denial for the basis of those changes. And it still allows for opportunity between the planning commission and the mayor and council for the plan to change. The planning commission's main job is to hear the public for the first time, to get it all on the table, and then allow the council through and to facilitate a correction if they want, you know, so it's okay. Doesn't always look like it's going to look now when it goes through, so.
Hey,
just wanna give
Jason,
you-
just a
Yes,
point
sir.
of clarity. Regardless of what we do, RZ 24-03 and the SUP that we approved in 2024 still exists, the opportunity to build the original building.
Correct, and it stands.
And parking and
now,
stands.
It is within your powers, and I would, you know, obviously caution against. Once the legal action is opened, everything's legally on the table. Legally, what happens in just kind of a cautionary tale is they've already obtained this vesting, they've already obtained these rights, and typically when you take those away through another action, you open yourself up to legal liabilities. So I wouldn't suggest that. You can, but they are right now, based on what you're voting solely on the change in condition. That's it, unless you make a motion to, you know, get into the other one. So as it sits now, our conditions, our recommendations are based on just the change in conditions, basically of what they presented. So yes, they still at this point in time have vested rights to build the original development.
Don't go away. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Do we have the option or possibility of being neutral on this and
I mean,
pushing it down the road to see if,
I
because
think-
there are a lot of things that were brought up that
Here's your options. We need a decision regardless. You can either send it up with a denial saying these are the things we want to see changed, or, you know, basically up to the public. You can add that as kind of a planning commission note on the way up. You can vote for approval. You can change the conditions. You could table, have them come back with a new plan to see you guys again, or you can just kind of send it up with your suggestions, and we'll make sure that that's communicated with the mayor and council. So those are your three choices. You get a table, approve, or deny, and we need an affirmative vote on either one of those to go. So we need 3 votes on either a denial or an approval, however you guys want to do it.
Okay.
So, but then we can attach, of course, when we do the planning commission report, we take the essence of what the commissioners have done. A lot of times the council, if they're not able to view it in person, they watch the videos too. So it's everything is pushed up. So however you feel like it's the most appropriate, send it or table it, however you deem the best. Any of them are appropriate, in my opinion.
Thank you. So our next move is a motion to do something.
Motion to deny CIC 26-01, given the grave considerations over the amount of parking and the overall aesthetic of the project. I'll just leave it at that.
I second the motion.
A vote?
Aye.
You have to vote no or abstain.
Nay.
No.
So 4-1, is that how I got
It's
it?
3-2.
Okay, all right, so I went through on a denial. All right, that's good. Send it up. We don't have any announcements or anything. You guys didn't actually get a submittal in, so enjoy your month off. Next week, enjoy the summer before it's over. It seems like it happens so fast these days. Appreciate everyone showing up and doing their job.
I am officially adjourning this meeting. Thank you for your attendance. Oh yeah, I need a motion.
I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Damn, I can't do these stuff myself. Okay, we're officially adjourned.